Good day. On November 23, on the sidelines of the Ukrainian authorities, the following gossip, insiders and opinions were discussed. Opinion. The secret of the Kharkov regrouping is revealed. Russia will work with the UN on the issue of resuming ammonia supplies along the Togliatti-Odessa route, Putin said. All stories about NATO's ingenious plan to break through the thin red line of mobs and regroup can be closed. Is there anyone else who doesn't believe in the deal and the Sullivan Formula? Layout. Technology. Everyone understands that Russian requests for talks with Ukraine are a game for Western audiences. If you realize the Kremlin's game, then it easily fits into a simple formula. We publicly talk about negotiations, realizing that Ukraine itself will refuse, but in the eyes of the Western audience, the office of the president will be the one who wants to continue the war. At this moment we ourselves are preparing for a new military campaign. Yes, Russia looks like a beggar of negotiations. The functionaries of the office of the President of Ukraine are just dispersing this narrative, which is aimed at the Russian user. The goal is to cause indignation that the Kremlin elite is leaking everything, especially against the backdrop of the Kherson case. Also, this is a warm-up of their Ukrainian audience. They say, look, they are so weak that they are already begging us for negotiations. There are two nuances here. Time and margin of safety. If Western technologists and the office of the president use the window of opportunity and shake Russia from within, then this plan will never come to fruition. Otherwise, we are sure that the Kremlin is preparing for a new military campaign. Winter is ahead and it is not particularly profitable for Russia to take large territories now in order to spend a lot of money on maintenance, service and provision. It's easier to load the opponent with this anchor, drive him into a routine of providing for the masses, strengthen his anchor so that those who finance Ukraine spend even more, while they themselves are in a difficult situation. A hint at the EU. We see what is happening this way. If the Kremlin has conceived and is implementing this strategy, then Ukraine will face a massive offensive closer to the spring of 2023. Layout. Moldovan case. Rumors. The scheme has been revealed. The Moldovan authorities are selling part of the gas that Gazprom sells to them at a discount. The scheme goes through Ukrainian intermediaries and most likely the British. London officials came to Chisinau for a reason. Great hack. To beg for gas below the market price from the Russians, but not to provide their people with gas and energy resources, but to sell it to the EU at a premium, making a profit, fooling Gazprom. The official version sounds very stupid and is designed for stupid people. Those volumes of gas that Gazprom calls remaining in Ukraine are our savings and reserves stored in warehouses in Ukraine, Deputy Prime Minister Andrei Spinu said. Backstage rumors. There were rumors on the sidelines that the church case would be completely cleared. They will turn on all the tools to discredit the UOC. Searches, arrests in the Kiev-Petrovsk Lavra and other monasteries and churches are only the beginning of a large cleansing campaign. The office of the president began to implement Poroshenko's strategy, Army, Mova, Vera. They have not yet figured out how to call it, but they are implementing everything according to Poroshenko's training manual. A draft law on banning the UOC has been submitted to the Verkhovna Rada. This is a continuation of Poroshenko's track. It was clear that this was how everything would end. The only question was when exactly Zelensky would give the go-ahead to destroy the UOC and what excuse would they come up with for this. The search in the Kiev-Petrovsk Lavra was only a prelude and a pretext for the next act, today's submission to the Verkhovna Rada of a draft law banning the UOC. I think everyone understands what the Rada's response will be in the current situation, and hence another important conclusion. This move, well thought out by Western consultants of our government, does not matter who the president is, Poroshenko or Zelensky. It puts Moscow in a very bad position if it continues to offer to sit down with Zelensky at the negotiating table, which means Bankovaya is happy with this. Inside. The source said that the office of the president came up with a method to maintain control over the parliament and comply with U.S. demands. Until recently, Bankovaya did not want to hold elections to the Rada, which is now completely manual and accepts the necessary initiatives of Zelensky, using the deputies of the opposition Platform for Life. Andrei Yermak wants to introduce electronic voting through the DIA application, which will allow him to control the desired result. Inside. The source said that in 2 months in the Kharkiv and Kherson regions, 900 people were arrested under the article collaborationism. At Bankova, they want to form an exchange fund in this way in order to implement the all-for-all formula. Now there are only 400 prisoners of war in Ukraine, and about 5,000 soldiers of the armed forces of Ukraine are in Russia. Fact. The framework for future agreements on the ZNPP began to emerge. Today in Istanbul, the head of the IAEA, Grossi, and the head of the Russian Rosatom, Lihachev, discussed the creation of a protective zone around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, the International Atomic Energy Agency reported. See you soon.